Hey everybody, what you see here is a 10-inch GE standard oscillating desk fan, also known as the strap fan, and this is one that I have been looking for some time, and I say that about just about every fan I get, but this one, um, I have seen many videos of these online, and I've wanted one of these versions for quite some time. Now, I do have the larger 12-inch version right there, which I got last year, towards the end of last year. And I actually got this one off of the same place I got that one from. I got both of these off of the Goodwill auction site. Um, and they are both in pretty much mint condition. I'm telling you, these two fans, I don't know who owned these last, but whoever owned them last took absolute amazing care of them. So, yeah. But this particular one is, well, obviously it's smaller than that one, but it also has the later style grill that is OSHA compliant. So the big issue with this one is you can stick your whole hand in it. This one, you can't get your fingers in it. So these came out, I think, when was it? From around the late 60s to early 70s. And I believe this one is one of the very latest models because as you can see, it has the plastic badge on here. That's plastic. The most of them had this badge. It's a tin badge stamped out of a sheet of tin. And I think the ones on this version would have been painted blue instead of red. But yeah, so that's what the earlier ones would have had. But this kind with the OSHA grill and the plastic badges, I think was the very last version of this. Now there was a 12-inch version that had a different blade. It had a plastic blade, and they only made the 12-inch versions of those, and the plastic blades, it had 5 blades on it, the blade set, and it was the same sort of design of blade that they used in their plastic bladed box fans, like the 3-speed ones, um, except they were a little bit smaller, I think, because the box fans were, I think, 14 inches or something like that, some odd size. But anyway, I'd like to find one of those as well with the plastic blades, the 12-inch version. But this one is really nice. It's in really great condition, so I'm going to turn it over to the side here. And actually, I'll do the same to the 12-inch one here because I want to compare them. So you can see, the 12-inch one is an earlier model, which I mentioned in the last video I took of that one. And I did mention that there were some versions of this that had the sort of jet engine style motor housing, whereas this one has the bullet motor housing. This one has that sort of style motor housing that I was talking about. It's like what I call the jet engine style, where it has this sort of opening, semicircle opening at the bottom with the slit up top. Really resembles to me a jet engine or something like that. And it has screws on the back here that keep the motor housing in place. I think that most of the earlier ones did not have these screws, so that's another defining characteristic as to why this is a later one. It does have the same push-button switch on the back here, but this one is only a single speed instead of that one, which is like that one's a 2-speed. Does have the oscillator knob, which is a very, very rare thing to find. These typically go missing. You can see this one has it too, which I mentioned. I was very excited about that one having it. Also super thrilled that this one has it too. And now if need be, I can replicate this 3D print replacements. So, and then another interesting thing I noticed about this one and this one, the motor and gearbox assembly seems to be set up differently. As you can see on the 12-inch one, the oscillator knob sticks out of the left side there. On this one, it sticks up out of the right side. So between early to mid 60s, whenever this one came out, I think this was the early 60s, and 1972, 73, whenever this one came out, they switched the oscillator gearbox design around. I think the motor itself is the same design because it is that uni-bearing motor with the bearings actually go around the oscillator gear case. So the motor itself is a single bearing, basically. Yeah, so I think it is that same design. They just kind of changed it. This is also obviously a smaller motor, too, for the smaller size. The blade is still held on by the rubber grommet, sometimes referred to the rubber grommet of doom, because those are impossible to get off without breaking them, especially if the rubber has been dry rotted and cracked, and it never comes off in one piece. So this one may, because it's been in such good condition, probably was stored someplace away from the light and out of harm's way. So, but yeah, has the exact same base as the 12-inch one. It's just a smaller scale, as you can see. It's pretty interesting. And then the C strap, which is the neck, which is how these fans gain their name, the strap fan, has the same sort of adjustment with that nut, and then there's a wing nut on the bottom that you can loosen to tilt the motor head up or down. And it is wall mountable. If I turn the fan over here, you can see it has the mounting hole for keyhole for mounting it on the wall. There's the nut I was talking about. Now the strange thing about this one is there's no label on it anywhere. This one has the label underneath of the neck bracket there. This one has nothing. There's no labeling. Maybe it was a paper or plastic tag that got taken off or something, but I do not see any evidence of there being any label. I have no idea what the model number would be, but yeah, that's the only thing that's kind of flawed with it, is it has no identification informations tag, so to speak. It does have all 4 of its feet there, as you saw there, which is still very nice. So now, and then I also wanted to show you the plug, which, if I can get it unplugged, where is it plugged in? Here's the plugs. This is the 10-inch one, and that's the 12-inch one. So the 10-inch one is a little bit, I guess, newer style. That one looks a bit more 60s design, but they're both molded plugs, so very similar in design. And another thing I did forget to mention that I just completely glossed over is, while the cord does come out of the same place on the fan, it's at the bottom of the motor right behind the blades. This one is kind of strapped onto the nut there that holds the base or the neck in place. This one is not strapped anywhere, it's just dangling free. So that one has a strain relief, this one has no such strain relief. Which is, I guess, a cost-cutting measure. Possibly also because this is a smaller fan, who knows. But anyway, I guess now I'm going to go ahead and turn the fan on. Now, like I said, it's only 1 speed. And, so here we go. Turn the fan on. Now, it does make that sort of knocking noise you hear, and I'm not sure what the cause of that is. I have tried to silence it. I think it may need some fiber washers or something. They may have disintegrated over the years. The shaft doesn't seem like it has too much play in it, so I don't know. But I didn't oil it or anything, because these fans are really hard to take apart, and so I honestly did not want to risk either breaking the rubber grommet that holds the blades on, or something else. Yeah, it has that knocking noise. But other than that, it is like completely silent. And it is very powerful for a 10-inch. Let's see. If you tilt it up, it goes away a little bit. And then I think if you tilt it down, it stays about the same. See, I'd probably need some sort of washers or something in there. That might be a project for a later date, because I mean it runs fine, so. Spin it down now. That still has a fairly good spin down time. That's another reason why I didn't feel like I needed to oil it. So now I will engage the oscillator by twisting the knob clockwise to engage the the gearbox, and now we will start the fan up with the oscillator engaged. And as you can see, this one has a insanely fast oscillation arc speed. I'm not sure why that is, but it's just really fast. And I really like it. I could just fall asleep to this thing going whoosh, whoosh, back and forth. Of course, without that knocking noise. But yeah, I have been using this fan somewhat since I got it. Even though it's, been sort of cold outside. It's a nice fan, I do like it. Alright. I'm gonna turn the fan off with the oscillator on because you're not supposed to engage and disengage the oscillator while the fan is running on these. With more load on the motor, didn't have as long a spin down time. But yeah, and then of course you can lock it in place by turning it counterclockwise, just like on the Vortalexes in the older models. So, oh, another thing I forgot to mention, this cage is removable, unlike this one. I mean, this one is removable if you, like, remove that front plate there, but, like, I mean the front, like, the cage comes apart. It's kind of hard to get off. There's, like, these 3 clips that are, like, welded onto the back of the grill, and it's really difficult to get it off and get it back on again. I did get it off because when I got it, the cage was tilted askew. It was, like, that way, and the logo was all wrong, so I had to fix that, obviously. But I got it fixed. Looks really nice. I am very, very happy with this fan, so I don't think there's anything I left out about this one. Oh yeah, this one is a little bit lighter color than that one, I forgot to mention. And I'm pretty sure that these were both known, both of these colors were known as frost gray. I'm not really sure if there was a difference between the two, but yeah, that's just something interesting. So that is the 10-inch GE standard oscillating desk fan, aka strap fan, with a cameo by the 12-inch GE standard. So thank you guys for watching as always, and I will see you in the next video.